This is a demonstration tutorial explaining the integration process of XPressEntry and Security Center by Genetec. So how does XPressEntry work with Genetec? There are a few components that we need to have ahead of time. XPressEntry itself will communicate with Genetec Security Center via the SDK. We will then pull all the activities, such as the cardholders, the badges, the photos, access levels, occupancy, and any other information that we may need. Once the data comes over to the XPressEntry server that you see here on the left, the data will then sync to each handheld device that you see on the right. When the data transfers to the handheld device, the device can now scan badges as if it was a Genetec door reader within Security Center. Once the data is scanned and you scan a badge on the handheld, you will get an access granted or access denied event. After this, the device will send data back to the XPressEntry server, which in turn will send it to a new component, the CloudLink device running the Rio protocol. Once the data gets to the Rio protocol, it will then show up back in Security Center within monitoring, and you will be able to see all activities that happen from a handheld device. There is some licensing that you will need to reach out to Genetec that has a specific XPressEntry part number. If you need more information about this, please reach out to our sales team or look at our documentation. The first thing is that we want to go to the config tool of Genetec, which I have up in the background. And what we will do is we will first set up a new door and make sure that we are under a new area that we want to monitor. We're going to go to our area view. And as you can see here, I have a few doors that are already set up, but I think we're going to set up a new door. And you're going to set up a new door for any location where you would want to scan people in or out for entry or exit purposes. So let's say you wanted to create a new door at the front main entrance. You're going to go to your area that you want to create the door under. You're going to add a new door. So we're going to say front entrance. And click next. We're not going to select anything here, but we do want the in and out sides. Next, and we will create. Next thing that we can do is we can assign it to an access role ahead of time. And I'm going to click on access roles. I'm going to click add, and let's give it to all employees. All employees will have access to the front entrance. Now that the employee access group is here, let's go to XPressEntry and show how we are going to do the communication back to Security Center. I'm going to go back to the main application. I'm going to go to Tools, Settings, and on the left, we're going to go to Data Manager. Data Managers is what we use and what we call all our connections to all our different access control systems. The very first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up Data Manager. As you can see here, I have a few settings already in place. We are going to connect to our Genetec Security Center servers. This is the IP or the host name that you would enter here. And I am using a admin user with privileges to pull data. So the SDK connection is going to be the part that is responsible for downloading data, such as the cardholder info, their photos, access levels, things like that. Once you have this established, the next path is the Rio login, the Synergis Rio login. This is part of the CloudLink device, and you will also need a separate admin login that is not the same as Security Center to log in here. And this will also need to be an admin level user that connects to your CloudLink device. You can use a different account, which is definitely recommended outside of the admin user, but either way works. As you can see on my machine, the IP and the host name is the same. That is because I am running the software locally on my machine, but usually in the real world application, you would be connecting to a CloudLink device. When using Rio, make sure the checkbox is checked. And if you are not using certificates or you're unsure, do check the accept untrusted certificate. Once you have these items set up, you can do a test connect. So we're going to press test connect here. And if you're successful, we'll have two separate messages. You have the SDK connection success and the Rio connection success. If either of these fail, it will tell you which one. So for example, if I was to modify the Rio server and press test connect, you will see the Rio connection is failing. Do check that both connections are connected when setting up. If you're not using the Rio application, we do not need events to be sent back to Genetec for whatever reason. You can uncheck the enable Rio checkbox and do a test connect. And that's okay. It will work just fine without the Rio protocol if that is your choice. So we're going to click OK. We're going to click Save. Saving this will save all our settings that we just applied. And to start, you either will run a full sync if this is your very first time, or if we were just updating the doors, you can just run a partial sync. In this case, I will run a full sync. So as you can see, it does download all the data. And my database is pretty small, so it is running pretty quick. You may need to wait potentially 10 or 20 minutes if it's upwards of 50,000 plus cardholders in the system, but it does vary based on how many cardholders are in the system. Next, let's go back to our setup data manager. So now you will see our new front entrance door does show up in this list. What is going to be important here is that after we download the door information from the SDK, we need to select this front door entrance. And the reason why is because now we're going to run this update Rio call, which will create the Rio protocol readers. This is an important step. If you do not run this, you will not be able to map the readers to the door in order to show activities within Security Center. Make sure you have that checked. I'm going to keep door 1 test checked for now, and we're just going to do an update Rio. It will warn you that this is making a change to the Rio channel interface. Do only run this when you are sure that all the checkboxes that you need. If you have unchecked, one of the checkboxes no longer work and you will no longer get activities within Security Center, so please do double check this. Once you are ready, press yes. Give it a few seconds, and when it is complete at the bottom, you will see Rio setup complete down at the bottom here. Once you're done, press OK, and just press save. And next, we're going to go back to our config tool. We're going to go to hardware. Now that we created the Rio doors in XPressEntry, we're going to go back to our front entrance door within config tool. Now we should be able to click our Synergist appliance, and we should be able to add our front entrance. And we're going to have both an inside reader created via the update Rio call that we did, and an outside /muster reader. Once you have that, click apply. Now that we have everything mapped, let's go back to XPressEntry. Let's run one partial sync just to make sure that everything's up and running. One step that you will need to take before moving forward is you need to go to the Add Edit display on the top left here, and do make sure that the Allow Editing of External Data is checked. This will be turned off by default, but do enable this. Press Save. Now we're going to go back to the main application form. Here is our main application. We're going to go back to Add Edit Info. This is where all our data is stored. As you can see, we have pulled info from our cardholders. These are called cardholders from Genetec and their photos and their access levels and badges. So as I go through a few, we have our different individuals. Let's go to our doors, and you'll see here we have our front entrance door that is created. What you will notice is that the start and end zone are empty, so these do need to be filled out within the XPressEntry system. You need to click on Start Zone, and the Start Zone will be where the person's coming in from, so outside. And when they do an entry scan, the end zone will be where they will end up. So if they get a successful access granted, they will enter the inside area. These areas do get imported from Genetec, so it is important to add the doors under the proper area. Once you have that done, you can press save, and we're good there. We're going to move over to the handheld now that we have our doors set up and our access levels, all that set up. So on the handheld, press the menu on the top left. We're going to set door, and we're going to set our door to our front entrance. This is the door that we just created. The handheld has gotten that data, it's synced up, and now what we're going to do is present a badge to see what happens. As you can see, John Parker here, he's an employee. We scanned his badge on the handheld device, and he now shows up as access granted. The question is, how does this data send over to Genetec? In Genetec Security Center, we're going to go to Monitoring Desk, or Security Desk, I should say, within Monitoring. We're going to click on the Monitoring. We're going to add the door itself. So we're going to do front entrance. And let's see what happens when I scan a badge. As you can see, entry granted. It shows up within Security Desk very quickly. It gives you the person, their photo, the timestamp that they scanned. All of this is very key in getting activities in and out. And as you can see here, within XPressEntry, we also have his occupancy that shows up, how long he's been in the zone. So he's only been in the zone for about 20 to 25 seconds. His badge number that he used, what area he's assigned. So this will all sync up with Genetec and Security Desk. Everything will be able to be monitored, and this shows up just like a standard card reader would. So you'll be able to generate reports either from XPressEntry or Genetec Security Center itself. We can also do an exit scan. And so as you can see, it'll give him an access granted still. And if you look at the details, it will show you which reader in or out did John scan into. Same on XPressEntry, because we did an exit scan, he has left the area, the hazardous area that we are monitoring, and his occupancy is now gone. So it's a very straightforward system. We can scan people in. We can also search for individuals. So if I look up James Gold, let's see if he has permission. He does not have permission, so he does get an access denied. If we go over to monitoring, you will actually see that James Gold actually got an access denied here. So this is very key in getting activities properly, and you'll actually be able to monitor everything just like a door reader You will be able to see all access denied issues and any unknown badges, access granted, they will all show up and you'll be able to monitor that all within Genetec, similar to monitoring a standard door reader. Another thing to keep track of is add edit info, your zones, for occupancy purposes. Do make sure that your zones are set up as the following. The inside area, make sure it is marked only as a hazard area. So this is any area that we want to keep track for mustering purposes, or that would be considered inside the facility. Anything that's outside would be the opposite. So you can set that as an outside and a muster point if you are using muster capabilities, and make sure that the hazard zone is unchecked. So this is the proper way to set up areas when doing mustering. So as we saw, James Golds, he got his badge denied. So let's go modify him to get access. I'm going to come back to config tool. I'm going to go to card holders and I'm going to go to James Golds. And it looks like his last access, it shows you he got denied. That's from our activity earlier. He is active, expired. Let's check his access rules. That's most likely. Yep, he is not part of the employee group. So we're going to add him to the employees. And do add and save, close. At this point, he should get granted access. Let's see what happens when we do a search for him. And as you can see there, after making the change, I did not have to do any updates. Everything syncs over automatically via the software events. And James Golds now gets an entry granted. So now if you come to Security Center, you will see here, front entrance, he did get a granted access. All changes, when you add a new cardholder, when you modify a cardholder's badge, that data changes pretty much in live time as long as the handheld and the server are both online and the device is connected either via Wi-Fi or cellular. Everything else syncs up pretty smoothly between both the Security Center and XPressEntry, and then XPressEntry back to their CloudLink Rio protocol. Everything runs pretty seamless once it's set up and it's very easy to utilize. And this concludes our walkthrough of the integration with XPressEntry and Security Center by Genetec. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about our products, please feel free to contact our help desk at Telarus.com. Thank you for watching.